Adult Swim's Robot Chicken often takes very nostalgic or innocent things, creatures, characters, cartoons, and turns them into complete monstrosities. One of these recurring creatures is the unicorn, a fictional animal often shown to be benevolent, now turned into one of the worst criminals of the series. And today we're gonna go over the crimes of the reoccurring unicorn of Robot Chicken. We're gonna be going through every single horrible thing I could find on this bastard, and by the end of it we will come up with a verdict on what we are going to do with this very horny horse. And if you end up enjoying the video, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm a very small channel, it helps a lot. I talk about anime, cartoons, video games, just lots of commentary, video essays, lots of all that stuff. I have a Robot Chicken video essay too. If you like this one, you should check that out. Anyways, let's just hop right into the first crime. After getting 8th in a race with a jockey, said jockey comes to yell at the unicorn because instead of actually trying in the race, the unicorn was staring at all of the asses of the horses. So the unicorn ends up trying to get the jockey to give him, quote unquote, the Hummer of a lifetime in exchange for winning the race. The jockey does end up declining, but this in and of itself is a crime. You cannot, in fact, try to get sexual services from a person in exchange for something, at least in most places. I'm assuming this is in the United States and not in Vegas. Definitely not the worst thing he has done though. Now, I don't know if I could even count this because he's talking through a book, but he is trying to tell kids and whoever is reading the book to undress and lick his butt on the book.
Want to have fun like us? Maybe you should lose those clothes. Know what's also fun? Licking this book.
I can only do one thing at a time.
Now, if he's actually able to see all this, or if the book just has a pre-made recording, I don't know. But the fact that it is targeted towards children, and even if it's targeted toward adults, it's still bad. This would also constitute sexual harassment. In the Walking Dead special, the unicorn makes a triumphant return, helping the deputy get into town. But he ends up kind of having unwanted mayonnaise on the deputy's shirt.
Also, sorry about your shirt. I was aiming for your hair.
And it's not mayonnaise, it's exactly what you think it is. I don't know if I could say it though, because YouTube sucks and God forbid you say funny words on here. Yeah, I shouldn't need to tell you this, but it is a crime to do that on anyone. You can't even spit on someone without it being considered assault. So doing the spitting from your bottom part onto someone is very, very, very bad. While the Robot Chicken was trying to climb the scientist's castle to save his girlfriend, the unicorn stood as one of his many guards to stop the Robot Chicken from getting there. He ended up getting his horn shoved into place, so you know he got his comeuppance, but you can't just attack people. You can't just do that. I guess maybe you can make an argument that he was hired to be a bodyguard and he is defending the place of which he, you know, was hired to do so, so maybe that isn't technically illegal, but he did attack the Robot Chicken first, I think, and he was helping a crime happen to begin with, so that is also a bad thing. That is also illegal. You can't be a complicit in criminal activities. In his very first appearance, the unicorn kind of baits the nerd into going out with him on this fantastic journey, making him take off all of his clothes and sit on him and then rub his horn. His horn ejaculates unicorn mayo, of which the nerd uses to make sandwiches and feed to his coworkers. And yes, it is illegal to manipulate someone into doing that. I guess if the nerd knew what was happening, maybe it wouldn't be, but you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that, man. He forced this ignorant fool to jerk, you know, jerk him off. He's like, yeah, polish my horn. Disgusting. But those were all like minor, right? These last three are just despicable. So after the jockey turned down the unicorn's offer in the first one that I stated, the unicorn went on to help a bunch of other jockeys win races. Soon after, all of the jockeys who were winning races ended up dying, and the initial jockey ended up being the last one in the country. Turns out the unicorn was giving them all, and this is a real thing, I promise, horse throat gonorrhea. This effectively made him some sort of typhoid Mary of Robot Chicken. That was an Irish cook, a woman who infected like 100 million gajillion people. It wasn't a million, it was like 200 people with typhoid fever. Although she didn't kill many people, the unicorn killed every jockey in the country apparently. But he did that on purpose, you know? He was helping his friend who he tried to bribe, and then he felt bad about it. So it's okay that he willingly gave all of these jockeys a sexually transmitted disease that ended up killing them. Yes, totally. That makes up for it. But these last two are just unforgivable. So this girl brings out the unicorn from the storybook. He is in the real world and she's friends with him now. He sees that she has a boyfriend and is like, oh man, he's really cute. So he starts kind of molesting him with like sunscreen and his tongue and stuff. That's already bad. But the girl ends up finding him with the sock on the door. It was tied on the door. She shouldn't have went in. But she finds the unicorn doing things to her boyfriend. He is tied up, gagged with a camera recording in front of him. Just spread eagled, back arched up. The unicorn was doing things, bad things to him. I'm pretty sure it was live streamed too, so his life is ruined. Needless to say, that's just assault, like just downright assault. At least the previous ones, like you could argue maybe they knew, or you know, it's more so manipulation than just full on, you know, literally just taking it to your own hands, holding them down and doing that. This one was not good. Now this last one it could be argued it's not as bad as the prior where he literally assaulted someone, but I would argue that it's worse because of what would have happened if he didn't die. So during the Walking Dead episode, after he splooges on the deputy's shirt, they end up getting swarmed by a horde of zombies. The unicorn doesn't really want to do anything because he doesn't care, he doesn't have a reason to live. The deputy tells him that he has a wife and kids, and he's like, oh, how old is your son Carl? And he's like, oh, he's 12. And then the unicorn's like, now we both have a reason to live. And he started killing the zombies and eventually died.
Wait, you've got a son? How old?
What difference?
No time, how old?
12.
Now we've both got something to live for.
Now, the implication there is, given his past behavior, he would have he got very excited by the, mentioned of a 12-year-old boy being potentially with him and only him and the unicorn. That would have not went very good at all. No. And those are all the crimes. That's pretty much every single time he was mentioned. There was a few other ones where he actually shows up in the show, but he didn't really do anything. It was just more of a cameo. Those are all the crimes I could find. But what's the verdict? Where are we gonna put this unicorn, right? He's clearly an evil piece of shit. What are we gonna do with him? In my honest Dakosity live opinion, I have a Robot Chicken video essay with 52,000 views. That means I am very qualified to speak on this. I think that we should put him in a glue factory. You know, we should turn him into glue, because he likes putting his glue all over other people. Why don't we turn him into glue so then he can get put on all sorts of things? We could put him in the arts and crafts. That could be a nice kind of mutual agreement. He stops doing the evil that he's doing, we turn him into glue and put him in a bunch of arts and crafts bottles, so now the kids can use the Elmer's glue and it could be him. It's a nice trade-off. Don't do that. Why am I saying this? At the end of the day, though, it's just a show. The unicorn didn't actually do this. He's not on trial. He doesn't exist. He's not gonna assault you out of the book. And my name's Dakosity. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video when I talk about probably 2P Hero X, because that name's really good. All right, I'll see you. Also, I'm gonna make a bitch pudding episode. I can't wait to do that. Bitch pudding. Oh man, I can't wait to make a video just glazing her. She's fantastic. I love you and goodbye.